Well, a huge bomb explosion has rocked eastern Afghanistan, killing at least 6 people. The blast took place in Parwan province. Local sources say 10 others have been injured. No group has claimed responsibility for the attack, but officials usually blame the Taliban militants for similar attacks. Afghanistan has been gripped by insecurity for more than 14 years since the U.S. and its allies invaded the country as part of Washington's so-called war on terror. The Taliban government was overthrown during the 2001 attack, but many areas across the country remain plagued by militancy. Well, our correspondent Fayez Khorshid joins us now from the Afghan capital, Kabul, to talk to us more about the blast which took place today in Parwan province.
Badia, the main target of the explosion was a convoy of Afghan security forces, and it happened exactly very close to a primary school. Now, we understand that most of the casualties are civilians. 6 people, including 2 women, have been killed and 22 others have been badly wounded. The number of casualties has quickly increased and the wounded have been evacuated to nearby medical facilities. No group has yet claimed responsibility for the bombing, but many here blame the Taliban insurgents for the attack. Afghan political experts and military experts here in Kabul are telling us that this is the start of the Taliban spring offensive. We understand this offensive has not been announced yet by the Taliban, but the winter is gone here in Afghanistan. During winter time, insurgents go and live in their Pakistani sanctuaries, but when the weather gets warm, they come back and launch deadly attacks against Afghan security forces. 2016 is believed to be another deadly year for the Afghan people because Taliban this year are expected to launch more and more attacks to have more leverage in the coming peace talks between Kabul, the Taliban, and most probably in the city of Islamabad, the capital of Pakistan. The Afghan government has also doubled its operations against both the Taliban and ISIL Takfiris, but also in Helmand and also in eastern Afghanistan, which is now the main stronghold of the ISIL Takfiris, and a large number of Taliban and ISIL Takfiris have been killed over the past 24 hours. But it doesn't mean that it's only the terrorists. Afghan security forces are also suffering heavy casualties.
Fayez, as you mentioned, it's the start of the spring and summer offensive by the Taliban. For the Afghan securities part, what will be different this year?
I don't think it would be different, but I believe it would be worse than 2015, because in 2015 I remember that a large number of civilians, around 10,000 civilians, most of them children and women, were killed, and the bulk of those casualties were attributed to Taliban insurgents. It's a big terrorist organization now operating in most parts of this country, and the new Afghan government is trying to convince the Taliban leaders to come and sit with them at the other side of the negotiating table and lay down their weapons through peace negotiations. But Taliban insurgents don't want to give up the fight, and they want to fight against the Afghan government. They have very interesting demands. They want the Afghan constitution to be amended that can reflect their own ideology. But the Afghan people are saying that, yes, peace talks are okay, but it shouldn't happen at any cost. And it's a big challenge now for the Afghan government. And 2016 is another big, tough year for the Afghan security forces to prove their military skills, that they can defend their country against such terrorist groups.
All right, thank you very much, Fayez. Press TV's Fayez Khorshid joining us from the Afghan capital, Kabul.